Welcome,
Welcome,
everybody.
everybody. Welcome, welcome.
Peggy, I got a little bit more wear and tear on mine, it looks like. And
Well,
you,
yeah, I have two shirts.
uh,
My other shirt looks more like yours, but I just ran and grabbed it. So this is the brighter one for sure.
I need a refresh.
Yeah, you do. That looks like it's been through the wash quite a few times.
Well, better than the alternative there. So,
Yes, yes.
welcome everybody. Let's see. We got a big crowd tonight. Thank you for being here tonight. Is a really exciting night for us. Kind of the first presentation. We're showing off the new platform. MyCAP 2.0, so it's exciting. We're a little nervous. Peggy and I don't usually get nervous for these things, but so that's fun. If you're new to us, even if you're not, tell us where you are in the country. Number one, like graduating high school class of your student. So I think we have predominantly 26s tonight. Last time I checked, I know we got some 25s really at the finish line here. I'm sure we got some go-getters that are 27s, 28s, but tell us where you're at and both geographically
Oh
and
yeah, we got yep,
numbers here.
27, 28, 26. Yep, we got a good. Puerto Rico, nice. We always have people. Chile.
We got Canton, Mass here. Peggy, you follow this Karen Reed trial thing at all? Does that make it to
I heard about it, but I know it's like Crazyville. You're up in your neck of the woods, right?
and by the way, I don't want to, I'm sure a lot of Canton residents don't want to be associated with that, but that came front of mind there. Awesome. Yeah, and here we are, very well represented
Yeah, it's
again,
great.
where you are in the journey and where you're at in the country and the world here. So that's what we love to see. So we'll do quick intros, a little bit of housekeeping stuff, and get right in there because again, you guys came to hopefully at least some of those top 10 challenges of college planning resonated with you. That was kind of the point of tonight. Like, we think most people would look at least one of those and be like, yeah, I'm a little concerned with that. I'm not sure exactly how to address that. We're really confident we're going to leave you with a solution for every single one of those tonight. Guys, if you have not already, take the 1 minute right now, set up your MyCAP account, mycap.collegeaidpro.com, upgrade to the premium. It's $5, $4.99. If you're on the free account, upgrade right now, $4.99. The reason why, there's a lot of reasons, but if you do that tonight, in addition to having access to all the premium version of the software, and nobody came here for a sales pitch, you're not going to get that tonight, except for on the bookends a little bit. But you're also going to get a 30-minute one-on-one call with one of our College Aid Pro experts. Okay, and I'm going to grab this other link for you now. Or do you have the?
Yeah, I have it.
Can you put
I
that
just
link in
put
there? If
I
you're
put
already
in the
on premium,
MyCap link, but
guys, please don't share this. Okay, this is just for live attendees. So the link right here that Peggy's going to put in the chat, that will get you a 30-minute one-on-one session with one of our experts. We charge $150 for that. If you go on our website right now, you'll see it's $300 to book an hour with one of our experts. It's $150 for 30 minutes. Anybody that upgrades tonight for the $5 gets a 30-minute call with one of our experts. Or if you're already a premium member and you want to book the half hour tonight, you can do that with that link. If you can put it in the chat, Peggy. We just
yeah,
ask,
it's there.
please, kind of everybody's on the honor code. Please don't share that. So that's, we trust you guys. We trust our community here, but take advantage of that yourselves. We're happy to offer that to live attendees, but please keep that, keep it in-house for the evening here. So I'm Matt Carpenter. I'm one of the founders of College Aid Pro here. It's been a very busy day. We were at Endicott College, which is a college that we love. We're big fans of here, and actually the city that I live in, Beverly, Mass, just north of Boston. We had a conference there for school counselors today, so we've been running around a little bit wild. But tonight we just again want to show you how to solve each of these challenges that we consider to be kind of the biggest ones in this college planning journey. In addition to that, in order to get the most out of tonight, ask your questions, right? Let's make this thing interactive. Whichever one of us is not speaking, right, between Peg and myself, we're going to be in the Q&A answering every single question we possibly can. So please take advantage. And that's what we're here for. If you're new to us, our job is to help make this really overwhelming, anxiety-ridden kind of intimidating, opaque process more digestible, be the source of truth, right? We pride ourselves on that. And that's what we're here to do tonight, right? So whether you've been following us for a while or you're brand new to us, we're really excited to do that tonight. And I've been doing this for 20 years, right? And the fairy godmother of financial aid, my partner in crime here, otherwise known as the budget queen, Peggy Keough. She's who I consider to be one of the top experts in the whole country. That's why we took us a while to get her to be a part of our team. We tricked her, we won her over, and now Z's can't leave Peggy. So why don't you say hi and we'll get cooking.
Yeah, so this is what I've been doing for quite a few years. So I actually, and somebody just put in they have twins. So I have twins. They're done with college, but I totally get where all of you are at, right? I've been through this, and kudos for being on here. The next challenge I'll give you, the next stretch is when we're done here, keep it rolling, right? Because you will be very happy you did. There's a lot of things to learn, and there's a lot of things that are kind of counterintuitive. So you want to stay on this journey and not do what I call drift through the process, because that makes it much more stressful if you're married with your spouse, with your kids, and it just doesn't have to be as stressful as it is. So the more you know, the better off you're going to be about the, I mean, you're going to be playing in this sandbox, if you will, and you want to know how it all rolls. So as Matt said, we love questions. Please put them in the Q&A versus the chat. I know we asked you to put, your graduating class and where you're rolling in from in the chat, but please put anything else into the Q&A. You can be anonymous, and that's where we're going to be answering questions. We're going to do our best. We rarely get to every question because we have hundreds of people on tonight. So we do our best to answer as many as we can. But remember, you pay that $4.99. It's less than my grande matcha chai latte. And you will get a 30-minute, and you can ask your question there. For some reason it doesn't get answered if we just can't get to it. Somebody else has triplets. My hat goes off to you. That's crazy. All right, so let me share my screen. And yes, this is being recorded. That's it. That's the number one question we get. So we will send off the recording tomorrow. So if we're covering stuff, you want to hear it again, you don't stress. We're good. You're good to go. We got you covered. So as Matt said, I think he said, but he's one of the co-founders here at College A Pro, and this truly is our mission. We're a very mission-driven company, and what really we're looking at here is this empowering families to shop smarter for college. So what we're doing tonight, everything that we're trying to teach you and support you on, that's exactly what we're here to do. That's exactly our mission. So there we are, the happy couple. Everybody should have received an email. Matt's already mentioned this, encouraging you to set up your account. There's a free version, but we're really encouraging you to pay that $4.99 and get your free meeting, since we're offering that tonight. Doesn't take long. We're going to be in here, so you're going to see how dynamic this is. If you're already in there, because I know a bunch of people did that, yeah, you can just upgrade. Super easy. And when we're in there, we can show you. So strongly encourage you to do that. I put the link in the chat. So as Matt said, this is being advertised as, going to help you with these top 10 challenges. I'm not going to read all these. It's boring, and you guys can all read, but basically we're going to hit, as Matt said earlier, I would wager that there's at least two of these that all of you have, if not way more, as a challenge or a stress that's kind of keeping you up at night. Will you qualify for need-based aid, merit? How do you find affordable schools? There's triplets and twins in here. I'm divorced. People make costly mistakes on financial aid forms. There's this thing called appealing that we're going to talk about that's down the road for all of you. And then ways to pay the bill, loans, just all of this stuff that's kind of in this sandbox that you're playing in. So we're going to hit all of this stuff tonight. And so for people that kind of like to know where we're going, this is it. And we're going to hit all these things so that you can feel knowledgeable about these questions and some of these challenges. All right, so let me talk high level about financial aid for a few minutes, and then we'll get into the weeds, actually showing you like a real sample student and a family. So key takeaway here with financial aid is we all know these sticker prices have been going up and up and up. These costs of attendance, that's everything: tuition fees, room and board, books, travel, the whole bit. The most expensive schools are over 100,000. I hate to tell you if you don't know that, right? But it kind of doesn't matter because all the schools are discounting. You should not be paying full price if you understand the what we call business plans that these colleges implement, and they're all different. Just high level, there's three different ways that they discount: need-based free money that can come from the federal, state, or colleges. Most of it comes from the colleges. Merit scholarships based on your child, grades, test scores, or loans and your child actually getting a job. Work study is a federal program. They get a job and they get a paycheck. These are the different ways that that cost of attendance can go down, and it's constantly going down. Some families pay full price, but it's not the lion's share of families. So let's just touch on the need-based aid, and then I'm going to kick it over to Matt to talk about those merit scholarships. So very simple equation the colleges use for need-based aid. They take their cost of attendance, that full cost of everything, they subtract something that's called a student aid index, used to be called an expected family contribution. So some of the schools are still using that verbiage, so we're including it. They take the difference, that's your need. School costs 80, you have an SAI of 40, you have need of 40,000. It doesn't mean that you're done. Oh, okay, great. College gives me 40, I have to pay 40. Most of the time, that's not the case. It's much more involved than that. You need to know good estimates of your SAIs. We're going to show you that in a few minutes. That's that first question. Am I eligible for need-based aid? And it could be yes at some schools and no at other schools. It's not a blanket answer necessarily per family. So let's take a minute and talk about this SAI and how it gets calculated. High level, there's two buckets. There's assets and it's student and parent, and there's income and it's student and parent. So let's talk about the assets first. Basically, it's all of your assets except for your retirement account. So 401k, 403b, IRAs, those are all retirement accounts, pensions. Those are not part of the calculation, but pretty much everything else is. Stocks, bonds, CDs, checking, savings, and if you have been fortunate enough to save for college in a 529, that's part of the equation as well. If you own it as the parent, it's your asset. One of those challenges was not making costly mistakes on financial aid forms. One of the biggest mistakes people make is putting their retirement assets on the forms, and or saying that the 529 is their child's, and kids assets are assessed at a much higher rate. If you own that 529, it's part of your assets, not your child. So those are two pointers right there when you get to financial aid forms, so you don't make mistakes. If grandparents and people out of the household have a 529, it's not even in the mix. It's not included. They're not in the household. And if your kids, the woman or the parent that has triplets, if you have three 529s, you only put your one child that you're doing the form for. So these are all major tips on filling out these forms to put your best foot forward and doing it correctly. Okay. Real estate is that last bucket. Most schools will not look at the home you live in. If you own it free and clear or you own it partially and have a mortgage, the difference between those is called your equity. And most schools don't look at that at all, but there are a group of schools that are very, very popular, about 250 of them, that do look at that. And some of them look at it as a savings account that you can just pull from. We're going to get into that in more depth when we show you the sample family. So now let's flip over to income. Parental income is by far the biggest driver in this, and it's a 2-year look back. So assets are actually you can be as exact as the day you hit submit. That value. Income is the opposite. It's a 2-year look back. So the earlier you understand this, and we have some younger parents with younger high school kids on here, the better off you are, because you can make sure those tax years you don't create income that you don't need to. We call it prior year. You can see what that means on the slide. class of 2026 graduating high school. It's going to be all about 2024 when you're filling out the forms. Adjusted gross income is the biggest driver, okay? In the equation, student income is part of it too, but you can see on the slide for the FAFSA only schools, one of the financial aid forms, kids can make over $9,400 and it's a wash. So it's assessed at a high rate, but you have to have a decent amount for it to even be in the mix at most schools. So for those of you, and we know there's a lot of you that have set up your account, on your dashboard, on your main homepage, you can see your two SAIs that we're going to talk about in a minute. You might have, Matt and I have seen over the years, many, many, many times, people that have pretty high SAIs, so they won't have any need-based eligibility. And that's when the merit discounts kick in. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Matt, to chat about that for a minute before we go into the software.
Peggy, do me a favor, buddy. Can you own this slide? And then once we get into the software,
Yeah, absolutely. So merit scholarships, like I said earlier, these are given to your child typically based on grades and test scores. Just an insider tip. It doesn't make sense, but these financial aid forms that we're going to talk about tonight, many schools, or some, I should say, not many, require these forms to be on file to be eligible for these merit scholarships. And this is lovely, lovely discounts because they're typically offered for all 4 years. So, and I'm not talking a $500 award from these colleges. This is 5,000 up to 40,000 a year. So these are some really, really nice discounts based on your child's usually grades and test scores, but it can be sports, leadership, whatever it is. Another insider tip, there are probably about 100 schools in this country that do not offer merit scholarships. It doesn't matter if your child has a 4.0 unweighted, perfect SAT, perfect ACT, started a business, pulling in $500,000 in revenue. None of that matters. That's that business plan I talked about earlier. They do not give merit awards. So it doesn't mean they're bad, but that's something you need to understand. If you have a high achieving kid who could get merit at many, many schools, you want to know that now. So you don't count on that and then have a rude awakening when they get into schools and it's not there. So please keep that in mind, that there are these schools, there's no appealing. It just is what it is. And it's also very important. This is a lot of the work we do with families, is that I mentioned the word appealing earlier, and we're going to get into it in a bit, but the schools that do offer merit that are competing schools, you can absolutely play them off each other when your child gets in and you get these award letters and one school gives 15 and another school gives 20 and they compete. That's why we want you to understand this process and proactively, Matt always says, for example, with like BU and Northeastern, right? Competing schools both offer merit. If a kid really loves BU, it loves the city feel, not so much Northeastern, hey, apply to Northeastern anyways, because we're being forward thinking. Down the road, boom. You get into both, you get better merit at Northeastern, you can use it to get BU to up the ante. So this is way down the road thinking, but this is the kind of stuff that helps you cut the cost of college.
yeah.
All right, you ready to roll?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Peggy. Yeah, so we're gonna literally get in, look at Peggy just taught you how this whole thing works. Now we're just gonna go see like, all right, what's it really mean to you specifically? But Peggy, I have to break in our regularly scheduled programming here. You probably didn't see this yet. We got a special guest. We got my mother who's on every presentation. That's of course, Mom, you're always a special guest. But Sally Kilgallen, that's my Graham, 3 weeks away from her 100th birthday. So Graham's tuning in tonight. So Graham, everybody blow Graham kisses. Say happy birthday to Graham, 100 years. Still supporting her grandson out here. How lucky am I? Look at this, Graham. Hopefully you can
Oh my
see.
gosh, so awesome.
Go Irish, baby. Go Irish. All right, so let me share my screen quickly, guys. And Peg, if you can again put this link in the chat, because I still know there's a decent amount of people that. And honestly, guys, thank you for all those emojis. That was very fun. I'm
I
sure
know. I love
very
the
made
emoji.
Graham's night there, and Graham's having some tough days now too. So, but Graham, better freaking hold on, buddy. All right, so looky. this is the home dashboard. Okay, so this is once you create your account, this is kind of what you get dumped into. You just answer a couple of questions. But Peg just talked about it. The SAI is kind of the foundation of your financial aid eligibility. So the first question is, the first challenge is, am I eligible for need-based financial aid? If either of these SAIs are below basically $100,000, it means you're eligible for need-based financial aid, at least at some colleges, right? Because there's a huge variation here. And obviously, we're going to talk about, look at some of you are looking at your screen right now, and your federal SAI is 220,000, and your institutional SAI is 200,000. That just tells us we're not eligible for need-based financial aid. That's fine. We're just going to course correct our strategy a little bit. So this is the first thing that we want to know. Okay. But more importantly, we want to find out, well, what are colleges actually going to cost us? Okay. So here's what I want you to do now. I want you guys to put in the chat, what are some of your top colleges? So maybe it's where your student's going. If you're class 2025, this is where we're going next year, or it's your alma mater, or your class 2026 and it's your dream college, right? So let's look at, I saw NYU is one of the top choices. Okay, that's one of my first ones here. Okay, so let's look at NYU. So NYU is going to be $100,000 next year because this is a class of 2026 student. The net cost for this student, it's going to be 43,000. Now, remember, guys, and again, this is why you need to create an account, upgrade so you can put an unlimited amount of colleges in here, right? Pay the $5, but we can take a deep dive on it. Okay, so when I take a deep dive on any school, I'm going to have all these different places to go even deeper on that school. Now, I saw a lot of questions already. Is what's a good GPA? What's a good test score, right? Every college is different. Okay, and so from an admissions standpoint, front and center, we're going to have that acceptance rate staring you in the face. Okay, what are some of the rankings? Don't get Peg going. Don't get me going to a lesser extent. We're not big on rankings, but we know a lot of people at least like some framework for how some of these publications, rank schools. Again, I think Peg would agree with me. Don't put too much emphasis on those, but they're there for those that care about it. But I think it is helpful to say, well, what is the average GPA here, right? What is the average test scores for SAT and so this is something that again I think we should know. But I want you to look even closer here. So why are we getting a discount at NYU? Well, they use the institutional methodology. Okay, so based on that, this is how much we're going to get in free money, right? Free financial aid. So this is what our net cost is going to be, every single year. Okay. Um, Here's what they do in merit-based scholarships. So for every college in the country, we have every single merit scholarship that they offer, the qualifications for each, and we're going to tell you, how much is your kid going to get. But I want to show you a couple other things here. Let's see. Let's look at another college first. Well, I'm going to bring you back here. I'm going to bring you back to the homepage. Sorry, let me get back in here. Now you see why this institutional SAI is a way lower than the federal SAI. Why is that? And there's two different, because this is a family with twins. Okay. And schools that use the institutional methodology, if you have more than one kid in school at once, they don't have to be in the same school. They don't have to be twins. One could be a senior, one could be a freshman. They give you a break for that. But the schools that use the federal methodology do not. So, and you guys can change anything you want in your profile. But if I go into my profile and I go to change some of this student info and I say, okay, instead of having twins, the younger sibling is not is maybe 5 years behind. Okay, once I do that, you're going to see that, okay, now this institutional SAI jumps up a decent amount. It's not as low as when we have two kids in school at once, right? So now it's going to show me that NYU is not quite as affordable as it was before. But let me look at another school. Oh, I saw Gonzaga as a school. So let me go into school selection. Let's put Gonzaga in there. Okay. And we're showing a net cost of 52,000. Well, Why is that? Okay, and we can see at Gonzaga. Well, that's because we're getting a $30,000 merit-based scholarship. Now, when again, like Peg said, this has nothing to do with our financial information. So this family could be quite literally billionaires, but based on the student, based on what I put in for my students' test scores, if we take a test or if we were just taking a wild guess in GPA, they're going to get $30,000, right? And we have some context as to why, right? But they're going to get $30,000 at Gonzaga. Okay, so we can kind of set our watch to that right away. Now, another thing that I think is really cool is that for every college too that we want to see, we have this kind of affordability profile. What does that mean? Well, the affordability profile is the 4-year net cost. So here's what this school is going to cost us, not just freshman year, but over 4 years when we think about inflation, when we think about financial aid, right? Discounts versus our budget. And you guys are going to be the ones that play with your budget. So then how much is somebody going to have to borrow? Okay. And how do we feel about that? And anytime somebody borrows more than we expect them to make their first year when graduating from college, right? The math doesn't work out too good. So look at if you're majoring in what do we have here? Um, some type of engineering. Where'd it go? I just saw it. Oh, computer science, right? You're majoring in computer science. You graduate with Gonzaga in that degree. You got a great first year starting salary, 112,000. But we're borrowing more than that, so that's when we want to be cautious. So we're trying to give you a framework for ROI, just really instantaneously. Okay, so that's something that's really important to us. So let's see. Then another thing that I want to mention here, because Peggy, remind me, we talked about our financial aid eligibility, figuring that out. What if we're not
Talked
eligible?
about multiple kids. We got to hit divorced and separated.
Yeah, so divorced and separated. Now, if we go in here and we say, hey, look, we are, and if I'm to put in here, like, look at, we're divorced, we're separated, that's going to have a very meaningful impact on the federal SAI and more importantly on the institutional SAI. Colleges that only use the federal SAI to calculate need-based financial aid eligibility, they're only looking at one household, right? So if you're divorced or separated, they're only looking at one household to determine your financial aid eligibility. Most colleges that use the institutional SAI, they're looking at both households. So it's going to be a major swing in terms of how affordable or not some of these colleges might be that use this institutional methodology like a lot of these private schools do, most of these private schools do. However, there's a bunch of exceptions, right? Vanderbilt, they only look at one household. University of Chicago, RPI, Santa Clara. So there's a decent amount of exceptions. Me and Peggy have been throwing a lot of information at you guys in literally about 20 minutes and change here. It's more than you need to know. The point is all of this is baked into the algorithm. So you just need to put your information in and we're going to tell you, here's how much this school is going to give you. If you're a divorced or separated family, these are going to be more generous. If you have more than one kid in school at once, these guys are going to give you a break. These guys aren't, right? So I think that's very, very important. And specifically, you can use, and again, you got to upgrade, you got to pay the $5 to use this part of the platform. Please do it. Okay. Because as you're searching for schools, you can put in your ideal admissions criteria, right? So you can say, hey, look, my kid is only looking at 4-year schools. And by the way, there's dozens of filters you can put in here. They want a smaller college. They want to be pretty close to home and they want to major in whatever they might want to major in, and it could be unknown, right? They want to major in bio. I can put those filters in there, and then I can just have go sort based on who's going to be the best deal, right? What's my lowest net cost? Okay, or maybe I'm not eligible for need-based financial aid, so I just want you to sort based on who's going to give me the most in merit-based scholarships, right? And it will instantly rank order that. Or I want you to sort just on based on who's going to give me the most in need-based financial aid. It'll instantly rank order by that. So, and again, we can just add to our school list. If we want to take a deeper dive, we can do that. But please, your answers are all in here, guys. We've done kind of the thinking and the research and put everything in here to answer these questions for you all. So
Yeah, I've had a couple questions about all private schools use institutional SAI. Nope. but we can all you need to do is go into a school, click on the deep dive. We're going to tell you what forms they require. So you'll know right away. You don't have to worry about it, and you don't have to go do research on their website.
Yeah,
It's all
and
here.
just to give you an example, like again, where I was today, Endicott College, right? It's a private school, okay, but if I go to the deep dive, I want to see their financial deal, okay, it'll tell me their see, where is it on here, Peggy? I know it's
Yeah, down forms required down below,
yeah,
and it says FAFSA yes, CSS no. That
so
means they don't use the
and
institutional
their
essay.
SAI basis here, right? So the SAI
Yeah.
basis, so it's a private school, but it's a federal methodology school, which tells us a couple things. It means they guaranteed don't consider home equity, and they guaranteed only look at one household if you're a divorced or separated split household family. So does that mean necessarily they're going to be more generous? No, but again, it's all in here. All right, Peggy, I think that was it for this.
Yeah, I just reminded you guys, put your questions in the, oh, I just put, please put all your questions in the chat. Okay, it's been a long day. I meant to put, please all put all your questions in the Q and
Come
A.
come
Okay.
on, Peggy. Actually,
I know.
let me show you one more thing because this is a good question. Because the question was, does NYU offer scholarships? And if they do, what about them? Something to that effect, right? So if we look at NYU, and again, this goes is true for any school, right? So I want to look at NYU. I want to take the deep dive, okay? And then when it comes to merit-based scholarships, get out of here. Sorry, I'm trying to get the chat out of there. Um, it'll tell us a couple things here. Here's again all the merit-based scholarships that they offer, and again the qualifications for each. And we will project if we expect you to get any of those or not. And then the other thing that I think is helpful here. Here's the percent of NYU students on the financial tab that are getting merit-based scholarships, right? So that should set some expectations. I think most of us know NYU, it's a hard school to get into, very competitive, very popular, great school. Yes, they offer merit-based scholarships, but 0.5% of accepted students will actually get them, right? And they offer a meaningful amount when you do get them, but again, this is calibrating expectation. So in short, our platform will never project, even if you tell us you're the valedictorian with a perfect GPA and perfect test scores, SAT and ACT, we still will show you getting zero merit. Guess why? Because you're probably not going to get it, right? And this is again kind of the why that hopefully provides some helpful context.
All right, let me share my screen again. Now I'm going to just spend a few minutes talking about, Matt and I have referenced these forms, but we don't want to make an assumption that you guys know all about this stuff. So let's talk about the two forms really quickly, and then we're going to show you how you can really get support around that in our software. So the FAFSA, almost every school in the country requires it, the free application for federal student aid. Most schools only use this form to give out federal, state, and their money. And the college's money is really the windfall, right? That's what you want to maximize. That's where most of the discounts that I talked about at the beginning come from. This form goes live October 1 of your child's senior year. So I know we have class of 2026 parents on here. That's this October, okay, of 2025. Younger parents, you can't go do it early if you're a go-getter. You've got to wait till senior year. As I said earlier, it's always based on a 2-year look back. So if you look at when your child's going to go to college, whatever that year is, say it's 2027, subtract 2, you're in the tax year. That's going to matter. So make sure you keep your ducks in a row and don't create income. If you get a promotion, that's awesome, of course, right? But don't create income you don't need to. Matt mentioned this, but I think he mentioned it, but if you didn't, on the FAFSA, if you're divorced or separated, key point here, only the custodial parent, one biological parent, is submitting that with your child. If you are remarried, and I saw this question in the chat, if you are remarried, yes, that new spouse is part of that household if you are the custodial parent. Doesn't matter if there's a prenup, doesn't matter if they're not, providing a penny for your child. That's the rules of financial aid. So New parent, a new step parent, they're part of the mix as the custodial parent. The custodial parent is defined as the parent that provided the most financial support on a year look back from when you're submitting the FAFSA. So say you're submitting it October 15th. If you have a rising senior, it's going to be a look back from October 14th, which is my birthday, all the way back to October of the previous year. So you have time to plan. I'm a financial planner by background. That is a big planning opportunity if you're divorced or separated. Huge, huge, huge. You want to look at that. And as Matt said, some schools look at both parents on the CSS profile side. That's another planning opportunity. So, but only one parent is submitting on the FAFSA. If you do have a rising senior, you need to think about this summer, don't need to do it tonight, you need to get what's called a federal student aid ID. Your child needs it. You go to the website that's on your student, if you say create FSA ID, you'll get to this link. Make sure you're on studentaid.gov/ da 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 da, because you're going to put in your birth date, your social security number, create some security questions, username and password. It's going to get sent off to the Social Security Administration. They're going to check you out, make sure you are who you say you are. You get approved, you're ready to roll. Every student needs it, and any parent that's submitting the FAFSA, they're called contributors, needs it. So if you're divorced, only the parent that's submitting the FAFSA needs it, not the other biological parent. And there's different nuances in there. If you're married, filing jointly, if you're married and that's how you file your taxes, then only one parent needs to do it. So we'll get more in the weeds on that on subsequent webinars, but that's the FAFSA in a nutshell. As we've mentioned, and you guys are putting notes in the questions in the Q&A on this, there's a second financial aid form. It's called the CSS profile, administered by College Board. About 250 schools require this, not instead of the FAFSA, but along with the FAFSA, you need to submit both. And as I mentioned with merit, some schools require both, like NYU, to get merit aid. As Matt showed you, they don't have a lot of merit aid, but it is what it is. That's their rule. Key differences here, and Matt mentioned this, home equity most of the time is looked at in the home you live in, not on the FAFSA. Both parents, if you're divorced or separated, both biological parents are submitting CSS profiles as the regular one and the non-custodial profile that the non-custodial parent submits. Business owners, I already answered a question on this. The value of your business is going to be part of both forms now. If you are divorced or separated and you have an ex that unfortunately for some reason it's not healthy or safe for your child to be interacting with, or they're off the grid or whatever it happens to be, there is something called a non-custodial waiver that you will submit to the colleges, basically explaining why the other biological parent should not be submitting the second profile, the non-custodial profile. If you have grounds to do this, you need to do it, because if you don't both submit, you don't have a complete financial aid package. You don't have a complete financial aid account there, and they will not award and their endowment money. If they're a school that requires the CSS, they will give out federal aid off of the FAFSA, but they won't give you any of their money. So you need to do that waiver if it's required. This form is very long, very invasive, and the stats are, 3 out of 4 families make a mistake. So we're trying to, I gave you a couple pointers earlier. We'll get more in the weeds on that later. This is something that we help thousands of families with every year, because it's really involved. So I know I went fast there, but in a nutshell, 2 forms. Most schools only FAFSA. We just showed you in the software how you can see in a second. You go into the deep dive of the school. You can see they only require the FAFSA. They require both. And then at least you know what you need to do. Matt, you want to hop back in the
Yeah,
software?
sorry. I thought I was just on mute. Turns out I was off video.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
so look at, so here's our solution there, right? As promised, guys, for each of these 10 problems, we're saying here's the solution in the software. I didn't show this earlier, but I saw a bunch of questions around home equity. It's all baked into the platform, right? So when you put your information in, say you're a homeowner and we have $300,000 in income, we're going to say, okay, well, here's how Boston College is going to treat that versus University of Southern California versus Northwestern, versus University of Michigan, whatever it happens to be. So it's really good to understand that this can be a factor at certain schools, but guys, you don't have to do all the thinking. Put your information in there, put the colleges in there, and we'll tell you what the deal is going to be. So to Peg's point, right, the financial aid forms are part of the foundation for determining, how and where you will get discounts, how much, etc. So I already kind of pre-populated some colleges here, but any colleges that you want to add, and again, you can do that from anywhere. Say, hey, whether you're curious or whether you're actually applying there, you tell us, hey, we think we're going to apply. We think we're going to apply early action versus regular decision versus early decision, whatever it happens to be, or just an I don't know. We tell you every single financial aid application that they require, which everybody requires a FAFSA. Who requires the CSS profile in addition to the FAFSA? Are there any other forms like non-custodial? So if, again, which means if you're a split household family, Wash U and Boston College is going to require the information from both of those households, and then deadlines, right? So we help manage this for you. Now, again, you got to pay the $5 to get access to this part of it. But Peggy here, the fairy godmother of financial aid herself, line by line instructions, through the financial aid applications, the FAFSA and the CSS profile, right? So again, you don't have to make any of those mistakes that are pretty stinking easy to make. And if you say, you know what, I want actually somebody to review my financial aid application, if you're a member, if you're in the club, you get a discount for anything that's beyond just the $5 a month. So if you're like, hey, I want to book an hour just because I want someone to look at my FAFSA before I submit it, or I want somebody to just do these freaking applications for me, you get special discounts again if you're kind of in the club, which is that, $5 a month. So hopefully just another reason to get you in there. But even if you just stay with our free stuff, we're at least going to help you manage the deadlines, who requires what forms, etc. Peggy, I think if you want to hit on appeals, that's what's up next here.
Yep. All right. So we kind of talked about this, but this is another step in this journey. So after your kids get in, they get what's called a financial aid award letter. That's what I was talking about. You get those, and then you might have competing merit awards between schools. That's a major appeal opportunity. So we have almost all of our families appealing. There's other reasons you might appeal, like and I'm surprised somebody hasn't put in the Q&A. Maybe I just haven't seen it. Like, I lost my job. I have to put in 2024. Well, I lost my job now. My situation's different. That's another reason to appeal. All these, you want to let the college know if things are different. You want to let the college know if you have a competing offer. Sometimes you're just getting back to the college and saying, hey, this is my situation. I've got younger kids, this, that, and the other thing, this strain on cash flow. Can you help out? We've had tremendous success through the years. And this year we were over $1 million for 1 year. So that means over 4 mil for all of our families over 4 years. There's a way to do this. We're not going to get in the weeds on it today. And we're going to hop in and show you in the software. We're guiding you on that step of the way too, about should you appeal, and then you can put the appeals into the software. So I won't steal Matt's thunder because he's going to show you that in a minute, but it's just another step. Even if you think you got a good package, you're going to want to do this, and there's a right way to do it. If you approach it like you're buying a used car, you are going to turn off the colleges, and we have one of our pros on our team that works with us. He is currently at Harvard School of Medicine, head of financial aid there, used to be at BU, I believe. He's been around the block, and he's like, we'll talk to each other and say, oh, this family is kind of a pain in the butt. I'd rather work with this family for 4 years as they continue to appeal. So there's a right way to do this, but it is definitely a step in the journey, and it could be a way to grab a lot more money in merit aid and our need-based aid, either one. So we're just, this is a whole webinar in and of itself, basically.
Yep.
All right, Matt, do you want to go in there and show him that
Yeah, I'll
piece
just
that
show you
tells you?
quick how you do it within the platform, guys. So,
And
the
just let me point out, in case, your whole journey is right up here, right? Now
right.
Matt's in appeals. We started with the homepage, school selection, afford. Like, we know where you're going, and you can just drive this train, and you're gonna get to your destination. You love that, Matt? You love
You might
that?
e- you might even get there early and get a discount, right, Peggy? That's
Yeah, exactly. You get to go in the nicest car.
business class for, I don't know, last
It's
train price.
cap first class. It's
Caboose,
cap first
caboose.
class you get to
There you
drive.
go, cap first class. So what you're gonna do is when you get accepted, you're gonna upload your financial aid award letter here. We're gonna translate them, but what's most powerful is we're gonna say, did you get a good deal? So if you want to figure out, okay, well, we're telling you got a very strong chance to appeal at Wash U in St. Louis. You just drag it down here and say, well, why? Okay, and we're gonna tell you here's exactly why, because they gave you less money than they say a family that meets your profile should get. And guess what, guys? That's unbelievably common, unbeknownst to the end user, right? And that's again what we know. So we're going to tell you, yes, you need to go back to WashU or BC, and more than that, guys. The odds of whether or not your appeal is successful depends on how sophisticated it is, and the more sophisticated it is, the more likely it is to have success. So we're going to tell you, well, when you appeal, here's why, here's how, and here's how much more specifically that you should ask for, right? And we go deeper here. We have actual templates based on the type of appeal that you're doing that are going to be in here as well. But again, that's what we're trying to show here to help you evaluate, did I get a fair deal for College X based on my family situation? So Peggy, I know this is kind of one of your favorite parts here when we start to figure out, okay, like how the hell am I gonna actually pay this bill?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is my favorite part, being a planner, right? So then you look at, okay, this is the 1 year. This is your 1 year look, where we say, what does the school cost? And we're showing it in this situation. There was no financial aid. So UC Santa Barbara, that didn't give this family any money. Your budget is 24,300, very unique to CAP. We ask you your budget. There's different line items you can fill in, and then we tell you this is your funding gap. Okay. But then, which is a pretty sizable funding gap, because you got to do the math in your head and say, ooh, that's for 1 year. I got to multiply that by 4. We're looking at over 200K, right? So then you can scroll down and look at the information and customize it to yourself. Say, for example, this is where Rosie went, right? UC Santa Barbara, right?
Yeah, see,
Matt's
baby,
wife.
heaven
So
on earth.
say Rosie lived close by, and she's like, well, we're going to save some money and I'm going to live at home. You could go customize your cost
God
of
forbid.
attendance.
God forbid. I'm not Peggy. I won't change that one because you have
I
to
know,
live.
I know that wouldn't be a scenario that Rosie would ever choose. But I'm just saying, but some people will do this, right? Or their uncle lives close by or whatever, that they're going to be able to, have a fun, pad there, pad. I sound like a hippie, but they have their own little apartment or whatever
Right.
at a relative's place. So you can customize that. You can go to your budget. Look at the third column here, the 24/3 that I mentioned. Well, when you see that, you might be like, well, that's too much. We need to maybe change our lifestyle a little and change. Maybe we can do more from cash flow if we don't take 3 vacations a year and we cut it down to one. So the parent cash flow could change. That could create more assets, right? Well, we were going to spend 4,000 on 2 vacations instead of 750 in assets. We actually have 4,750 if we don't spend that money. And as you make those changes, it'll change in real time and show you. Yeah, like Matt's just making it.
Like Peggy, like you might say, like, hey, look, our kids are, at least as of next year, entitled to take the, federal direct unsubsidized loan for 5,500 or 5,500, right? So we
Yeah.
might choose to accept that, right? So that's going to reduce it a little bit. So
Yeah, yeah. And you can look at, yeah, and you can map it out. And if you're looking at those saying, what are those? Don't worry about it. You'll know all about what those are when you get to this stage in the process. Because this is later senior year stage, and most of you aren't there yet. But the point is, you will have this to in real time do all this planning, and then you're going to be able to compare the different schools and see the different funding gaps and what makes sense for you.
Yeah.
So it's really powerful, and you're doing this with your eyes wide open, which is awesome.
Exactly. And that's your sandbox, right? So that's where, even again, if you guys are ninth grade, you want to kind of be playing in there. Let's look out in the future. What would UC Santa Barbara look like, and whatever it happens to be? So for you, class 2025 folks, this is where you want to be living, need to be living in the platform, right? It's game time. We're going where we're going. We know what it's going to cost. And by the way, it's not too late to appeal for more money. We're still doing it this week. We've appealed successfully with colleges for more money. But um, there's a method to the madness in terms of, like, obviously we want to borrow as little as possible. But when we do have to borrow, there's a method to the madness, right? First, we want to take advantage of the federal direct student loan that we're entitled to, so long as we complete the FAFSA. We're starting there. We're not going to spend too much time on that. Peggy and I do a ton of presentations. The next one, I think, is next week or the week thereafter on, the whole borrowing thing and when to use what resources. Step two, we're going to look within the private sector, because the plus loan stinks this year. Effectively, it's at 10% to borrow through the federal government as a parent this year. So we like Ascent right now. That could change. Right now, they're the guys that we are supporting, because they are giving our CAP users preferential treatment. We get our own customer support line. If you get a customer support personnel, customer support email, if you get a rate that you think is off base for you, right? You're like, hey, I got really good credit, and I think I'm a pretty good applicant, and I get a rate that seems wonky. They are promising us, and we encourage you to put them to the test, that you will get an answer as to, here's exactly why you didn't get a rate that meshes what you would expect, right? But after we see what we got from Ascent, then we're going to kind of look in the private sector and get one or two more and say, hey, do we do better than Ascent? And then what does that look like, next to the state options, right? And next to the and then finally, if all those rates stink, maybe we have to use the federal plus loan. But first, we're going to try to see if we can beat that. So again, there's kind of a method to the madness here, and this is what we want you to. This is kind of best practice that we want you to use. So again, to Peg's point, and I think to both of our points here, from the beginning of the journey to the end, until we decide, okay, here's where we're going to college, right? We want to be able to provide some great solutions, right, for you all. Your risk, and by the way, guys, this is important. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. We're not going to be $4.99 forever. This is a brand new kind of introductory pricing, because we just evolved into the strategy. So this is our, like, welcome to the party type of deal. So even if you're thinking it, take that $5 risk. Okay, if you're in the free version of the platform, it's going to say upgrade up here. I'm already in the premium version. So this is just, if at any time we want to talk to an expert, I can always do that. I can book a time right here. Like Peg said, I can book an hour at the director of financial aid at MIT or Harvard, or former director at USC, or any one of our experts on our team. You're going to be in great hands. But even get on the $5 platform for right now. Take advantage of that free 30 minutes, right? If you upgrade tonight, you get the free 30 minutes. And then let me grab this link again. If you're already a premium member, right? You can book your free 30 minutes with one of our experts right here. Guys, we're just asking you, please, honor code here. Please do not share that link, right? This is just for folks that are on with us live tonight. If you want to book a free 30 minutes and you're not on the premium version, upgrade here, get on the premium version. You'll automatically be sent a link to get your free 30 minutes. If you're already on the premium version, just use what I had right there. And let me see, and let me also make sure, if you are an underclassman, okay, we have a promotion. If you want to use any of our what's called Wake Me Up When It's Over services, which basically means you work with one of our experts, or in some cases, two of our experts, to drag you guys through the entire process. Upgrade to the $5 version tonight. you'll get a $500 discount that will, because it's supposed to end tomorrow, right? Yes, this promotion ends tomorrow, but you'll be kind of locked into that if you decide, hey, yes, I want some more of your comprehensive services. And you can ask about that during your 30-minute call here. But do that tonight to kind of lock that in, because it expires tomorrow. You don't have to make that decision by tomorrow, but that kind of gets you in the door. I'm trying to think of what else I missed, but if you're a class 2025, I'm gonna go grab another link actually, and I'll be on here. But if you're a class of 2025 family, take advantage of that 30-minute meeting, because we're gonna help you figure out, okay, how do I pay the bill? Right, you're a little bit obviously later in the process, but how do I pay this stinking bill? What loan should I take? Because it's not necessarily a one size fits all, and we will, when you meet with your expert, we will be able to help you with exactly that. And I'm going to grab one more
Yeah,
link.
and you guys have had a lot of great questions. We're not going to get to all of them. So, just upgrade and you can ask at least one of those questions in the 30-minute meeting. So that's a great opportunity that when you pay $4.99, that's for a month. Somebody's asking that covers you for a month of in the software. So it's
That's a
pretty,
month.
like I said, I used to live in Seattle. I moved recently. There's Starbucks at every corner, but you're hard pressed to find a Starbucks drink anymore that's if even at the smallest size that's less than $4.99. So it's as I like to say, it's a screaming deal for everything that's just there for you in one place.
Yeah, and,
It's
and and again, it's cancel anytime, whatever. It's like
Yeah,
if
no contracts that we're
there's no, it doesn't
locking
go.
you into
And
or anything.
And this is a good question. There's no, if you get in right now at the price we're in, you're grandfathered into 499 for life, right? Or whatever for as long as you stay on. So even when we do go up in price, you're grandfathered in there, unless you cancel and come back in later or whatever. So you don't have to worry about a whatever slow burn increase in price there. But I just put this link in the chat. I'll put it in again because there's been a few more questions since. If you're class 2025 and you're kind of in that loan stage, this is a more comprehensive, like step-by-step guide of like, here's, our process. But yeah, and again, if we didn't get to your question tonight, guys, it's not because we're ignoring you. We're outgunned. Um, how about this? How about this endorsement, Peggy? Read it. Go ahead and read it, Peggy. You see that one in the
My
chat?
daughter's a sophomore and I use this software weekly and I've been using it since she was a freshman and I love it. Worth every penny. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We did not pay this woman, I
We should
swear.
though. I said we should get this gal on the payroll. Thank you. That's very sweet. Appreciate that.
Very sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so okay, the wake me up when it's over promo, guys, is the we didn't talk about this at all tonight. So on this I will share this link again. So again, if you are a DIYer, okay, if you are a DIYer, you are somebody that will be in good shape with the $4.99 a month. Okay. Oh, Peg, you know what we forgot to do? We
What?
forgot we forgot to show the club and who's going to keep you on
Oh,
track. So here and guys, this is important. In addition to all this stuff, if you upgrade tonight to the $4.99, you get access to all this stuff you're seeing on the left side. This is for premium members only. Okay. Office hours. Okay. Every other Monday at 7 Eastern time. A panel of our experts that are there to answer your questions in real time, that are just there to answer your questions. Every other let's see, okay, in this community here, every other Thursday, it's usually myself and either one guest or another one of our teammates. We do member only workshops. It's basically at 12 Eastern time. It's like inside baseball. Actually, Peggy covered for me because she's a great teammate. Earlier today at 12 Eastern time, doing a deep dive on all the loans and pros and cons of each, and that whole deal was kind of the focus. Private Facebook community moderated by our experts. Our CAP GPT, pretty stinking smart, about 20 years of data and expertise, and you're going to be hard pressed to stump our cap GPT with anything financial aid and scholarship related here. And I promise you, we're a lot when it comes to our sweet spot, we are smarter than why can't I remember the name of the main GPT? Chat GPT, sorry.
Chat GPT.
We're smarter than Chat GPT.
You're smart. You're smart. Don't worry about it.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. And then let's see. Oh, and then the private scholarship. So every private scholarship in the country, we have baked into the platform here. So you can just, and again, you see all these filters. So I can say, hey, I'm a resident of Colorado. Here's every private scholarship that's you can be eligible for as a Colorado, resident. So again, guys, $5, brothers and sisters. Let's not overthink it here. In addition to the the free half hour with one of our experts tonight. So please take advantage again, because this is not going to be here. I don't know how long it's going to be here, but I know it's not going to be forever, and it's not going to be for too long. So Peggy, I think we did our best tonight, didn't we?
Yeah, we did a great job. This was we decided to turn this around and do a whole new thing for you guys today. And I think this is working out famously. How do you sign up? Let's put the link back in there again.
Yeah, so sign up, guys. It's just, well, we can put MyCAP you can just go to mycap.collegeaidpro.com. And no, there's no, guys, it's $5. Cancel anytime. If you don't get any value in the next 30 days, just cancel. There's if you're already a premium member paying $10 a month, your monthly payment is going down. To $5. So you guys are I think we're doing the right thing by you all. So your price will go down. And I think you're getting a better product. Sure hope so, Peggy. It's been 2 years and a couple of $1 million.
Oh man, I remember sitting in Boston kind of first starting to spitball this whole thing, and it's so awesome to actually be looking at it.
Yeah.
So,
and again, guys, if you're not on the premium version, which I am, in addition to talk to an expert up here, it'll say upgrade now, or maybe it only says upgrade now. So within your free version,
yeah, it should only say upgrade, and that's where you can upgrade, right?
Yep.
So
Exactly.
you can take care of it really easily.
And same thing, if you want to cancel, guys, it's just right within, just like any other platform here, it's right within your kind of
Profile area.
profile here, right? And,
Yeah.
and just kind of like any other subscription. So, all right, Peggy, appreciate you, dear. Thanks again for spelling me earlier today. And
Absolutely. And again, hugs and kisses to your grandma and Donna.
Graham.
So excited.
Graham, love you, meet it. See you next week.
All right. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, guys.